The night was supposed to be a warm, joyful occasion, a gathering of our closest friends and family in the comfort of our home. My husband, Ethan, had been consumed by work for weeks, often staying late at the office, and I believed a laid-back evening would lift his spirits. The house buzzed with a cozy ambience. Soft music played in the background, wine glasses clinked in cheerful toasts, and laughter filled every corner. Everyone appeared to be having a wonderful time, completely unaware of how quickly the evening would spiral into chaos, forever altering our lives. As the night progressed, a small group of us gathered in the living room, exchanging light-hearted stories and fond memories. Someone brought up Ethan's humorous struggle with assembling a coffee table from a flat-pack kit a few weeks prior. I jumped in, adding a few playful embellishments to the tale, which sparked waves of laughter among our friends. Others chimed in, sharing stories about Ethan's quirks, like how he'd often leave dishes in the sink, or the way he'd talk to our dog as if it were a small child. It felt like harmless fun, the kind of gentle teasing that brings people closer. I glanced at Ethan occasionally, noticing a faint smile on his lips, but it never quite lit up his eyes. He remained quiet, not joining in the laughter, his stillness standing out to me as unusual. Yet, caught up in the warmth of the moment and the attention of our guests, I dismissed it, not realizing he was slowly withdrawing from the conversation, from the room, from our shared life. I assumed he'd slipped away to grab another drink or check something in the kitchen. The evening continued with guests mingling, the music humming softly, and the atmosphere remaining lively. As the hours passed, people began to say their farewells, and it struck me that Ethan hadn't returned. I checked the bedroom, it was empty. His phone was gone along with his wallet and keys. A wave of unease washed over me. I called his number but it went straight to voicemail. Worry gnawed at me, but I reassured myself he'd be back soon, perhaps just needing a moment to himself. I went to bed, expecting to feel him slip in beside me later that night. When I woke the next morning, a message from Ethan awaited me. It wasn't filled with rage or raw emotion. It was calm, almost distant. He wrote that he was drained, worn out by constantly being the butt of jokes, by feeling belittled in front of others, by pretending the teasing didn't wound him deeply. He said he couldn't remain with someone who laughed along with the crowd instead of standing by his side. I read the message repeatedly, my heart sinking with every word. I hadn't meant to hurt him. I called him over and over, but he never answered. The silence on the other end was overwhelming, like a void swallowing my hope. 2 days later, I returned home from work to find a moving van parked outside our house. Stepping inside, the air felt heavy, the space eerily hollow. Ethan's side of the closet was empty. His jackets gone, his favorite sneakers missing. Even the mug he used every morning for his coffee was nowhere to be found. The stillness was suffocating, as if the house itself mourned his absence. Friends began reaching out, their voices laced with confusion and concern, asking what had happened. One confided that they'd sensed tension at the party, noticing Ethan's discomfort as the teasing continued. Another mentioned that as he left that night, Ethan had whispered, "This isn't my home anymore." Those words struck me like a blow. It wasn't just the jokes from that evening. He'd been carrying this pain for far longer than I'd realized, and I had been oblivious to it. The party had simply been the final straw. Desperate to mend things, I sat down and wrote Ethan a letter. Not a cold email, but a handwritten note filled with my remorse, apologizing for my carelessness, begging for a chance to talk face to face. I mailed it, clinging to the hope of a reply that never came. Weeks stretched into months, and the truth settled in. He wasn't coming back. The hurt wasn't just about that one night. I had failed to truly see him, to understand the weight of his unspoken pain. Eventually, a thick envelope arrived from a lawyer containing divorce papers. There was no heated argument, no tearful reckoning, just a stack of legal documents, cold and final. I signed them, sitting on the couch we'd picked out together years ago, surrounded by the ghosts of our shared memories in every corner of the house. I replay that evening in my mind constantly, wishing I'd halted the teasing, stood up for him, or noticed the pain hidden behind his quiet smile. I had let him feel insignificant in his own home, by the person who should have been his greatest champion. Now, when I attend gatherings and someone becomes the focus of laughter, I pay close attention. I notice who joins in and who holds back. And I think of Ethan, the man who loved me without ever belittling me, and how I failed to offer him the same respect in return.